In 2016, I went fishing up at a lake on my pontoon. And this really large dragonfly, I started then noticing differences in nature. This dragonfly, I was supposed to be fishing, but I was playing with bugs, kinda. And so this dragonfly flies in, and it turns around. Well, I decided to take pictures. And it turned around and did a pose, looked back at me, did a whole Tyra Banks pose, looking back at me. And I got several photos of it. And I just found it ironic, right? So about 1.5 years ago, we did Year of the Dog last year. I breed therapy / service dogs. Well, this is my last year. And I was busy with the dogs. In March, St. Patrick's Day, we got 1, and then middle of the summer, we got 2. And then towards the end, about September, I think it was, we got 8. And so it was a busy year last year. This year, we got 6 and 9. So the 6 are almost all placed in homes, but it takes a while for this because I want them to go to the right owner, right? So last year, I already wasn't acting right. I was not acting myself. But I was also doing Dark Night of the Soul and the spiritual awakening journey, right? And so I was just simply worn out from doing the work, as well as catching people at the things they do and understanding why they're doing that is sad. What's even more sad is the fact that they know what they're doing hurts other people, yet they do it anyways. And I was inadvertently doing things to people because that's what the people around me growing up did. And so I had woken up to how much my family openly did not like me. But yet, they felt I was forced to like them. Anywho, hard times. We all go through hard times. If you don't, just wait for it. So it was realizing that the people around me were doing the same things as my family members. No wonder I was so angry before I went off to La La Land after getting hit on the head in 2017. Someone beat me with a bat. And after getting beat with the bat, I became catatonic. I lost the ability to speak, as well as there was no one trying to connect with me or spend time with me. And anybody that did, it was negative. As well as I kept attracting catastrophes to me. And so I got agoraphobia and was afraid to leave home for a period of time. Right? So before the spiritual awakening journey, I was already in a state. And we couldn't have this conversation that I'm having now with you. And that was 2017. 2018. Well, 2017, I had a terrible ring. 2018, the scream in my head had finally started to do something different. And so the pitch would get high and low at different points in time. And what I noticed was it was cueing me in as to when things were going to happen. If one of my kids were in trouble, it'd make a certain pitch. if I got money in the bank. That's how I found out what manifestation was because I needed to find out that tone. So that's what turned me on to frequencies. And so what I found out was it was the frequency of manifestation. I did more research, and what do you know? It was also the year of manifestation in 2018. And when I try to tell people about this, they would call me crazy. Okay, so I stopped talking about these things when they happened. I know I'm not the only one. This has happened to other people. I'm certain of it. And so, things, as I understand that the pitch is telling me things, the pitch in my head, I should have died the day I got hit on the head. The ambulance, the police officers, the looks they were giving each other, as well as they told me they don't know how I survived that. It should have scrambled me really good. They were afraid of me. Like they really didn't want to have anything to do with me after that. I'm not sure what they knew that I didn't. I was in pain. I wasn't trying to pay too much attention, as well as you get caught up in your life. And like, you're just happy to have survived that moment and not had to leave in an ambulance. So, anywho, the pitch in my head was changing with different things, right? And so I decided it was maybe time to make videos, and I was going to need to learn how to speak again because I was basically tongue-tied. I could barely communicate with people. I remember taking my granddaughter, and I cried the whole time she was here because I was bound up inside, locked inside, a prisoner inside my own body. And this is how I know what's being done to people, because of my own story. And so, and whenever I would try to talk to people, even still, I try to talk to people, they interrupt me. There's a few people that do not. But I know the narcissist because I get 3 words out and they cut me off. Or I'm trying to tell them something about me and they cut me off because instantly they start thinking about themselves instead of engaging in the story mentally. They cut you off because all of a sudden theirs is more important. But that's what a child does. So I recognize they're in their child mind. But they think they're being a grown-up. I did that too when I first started learning to communicate with people again. So the people in town had no idea that this is what I was doing when I went out on this spiritual awakening journey. I went and got triggered. I also caught cooties. I went ahead and was my weird self. I like to joke around a lot, laugh and have fun. And people took it the wrong way because they're in a dirty frame of mind and I'm just being funny. I don't tell sex jokes. I think people should still hold a certain amount of appropriateness when engaging with each other, because that's called having a conscience. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is not considering the fact that what you say to a person is offensive. I learned myself that I myself was being a little too free with not paying attention to what I said. And so that's why I'm pretty precise when I speak now. Okay, so I went through the spiritual awakening journey. We had a lot of falling outs because I had to cut the narcissists out of my life. All of them. All of them. If people are okay with treating me wrong, I can't be around them. because I've never been okay with being treated wrong, ever. And so by people doing things to me, my fawning reflex was kind of like, did they really just do that? And so they would take the fawning reflex as a yes. And this is how I started understanding psychology. And so I went and looked things up. Fawning reflex. I went to the fairy godmother and other people on YouTube that talked about these subjects so that I could understand what the other person was doing. Eventually, my phone started sending me things. So, moving on, all I knew is that I didn't feel good. But I have HIV, my viral load, all of that was fine. And I was taking my medications regularly. And so I didn't know what was wrong with me. I had a lot of body pain, a lot of brain fog. I just did not feel good. And I was very pale. My lips were very pale too. And so at one point, like, it was year of the puppy, and so I was just so busy keeping up with them that I didn't have time for other things. And they were really wearing me out because I also train them. When I adopt out puppies, they get a puppy that knows that you don't want it to potty in the house, that it takes its poops outside. You have a dog that knows this. However, I have a pet door. If you're not in tune with your dog, it is going to have an accident. And this is how I make people show up for the other half of that training. Like, they're going to go get credit for how well behaved that dog is. And so at this point, I expect them to take accountability. But anyways, having a rough year. I did a lot of hot tubbing. I did a dietary change to a cultural diet. I started using essential oils for my body aches instead of taking pills. I was trying to go pill free, okay? Because the government keeps jacking me around on my income, jacking me around on my medications, and I don't like that kind of shiftiness in my life. So I decided it's time to wean myself off of the programs and the medications and find some alternatives. But HIV, you're restricted, very restricted. And so I had a lot of conversations with God, like without programs, without any kind of help, because it was very clear that nobody wanted to help me. Because of HIV, I was disposable. Nobody gave two shits, not even my own family. They saw me as basically like the Incredible Hulk, as well as a few other people, because I was typically strong of mind, strong of body, and strong-willed as well. That's what's gotten me by in life. And so when I wasn't that person anymore, but I was also doing some undercover work. So I didn't need people to know who I was necessarily. I was going out to know other people, as well as, because this is a town, like, I'll have to take you out and about. This is still somewhat of a Wild West town, only with people that have substance abuse and alcohol abuse problems. But there's a reason for that. So, getting back on track, I had just taken a shower, and a few moments, like, after my shower, I was doing my thing, and next thing I know, I could have swore I saw, like, a worm or, like, something come out my nose and then turn around and look at me. That was a new day. And I went to grab it, like, what was that? It looked like a hair, maybe? I don't know. But it like came out my nose, did a Cobra Kai, and looked at me in the eye. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, and so, like, what do you do? I mentioned it to my doctor that I think there's something in my sinuses. I need the ear, nose, and throat doctor to maybe take a look. And they're like, oh, no. Nope. I'm like, why? They're like, nothing's wrong. Gaslit me. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to try to trust you right now. And another time I had flipped over to dry my hair, you know, like girls do. I could have swore I saw something. The thing coming out of my hoo-ha. Panic. Like, I already knew my doctors weren't trying to help me. What do you do? So I used herbal medicines. I'm not going to give people too much of a description. I used herbal medicines to try to handle that from the inside. And I had turtles at the time. They were my sons. My mom gave him a turtle. The turtle, she was all alone. And I felt sorry for the turtle, so I got her a mate. And I learned a lot from those turtles. And so my life was all wrapped around trying to make a better life for the turtles instead of me. I had already started other projects, but I sunk so much money into those turtles. It was ridiculous. And things kept going wrong until the parasite incident. There was a few times where I couldn't remember if I washed my hands. This was exhausting me, and I had to pay people to come and help me because they needed a giant aquarium. My son left home and did not take those with. So all these people that complain about what their parents did not do for them, how about you be responsible since you're growing up and leaving home and all? Take your shit with you. I'm going to tell you for your mom. Tired of tripping over your shit, son, daughter. Take it with you when you leave home. That's kind of the point. So, I get that you might not have a place to put things, but rent a storage unit. Both my kids did not want to pay that bill. Well, do they think I did? That's part of growing up. So, I didn't know until the past few years that there are so many irresponsible people out there. Both of my kids, between 18 and 21, my daughter was 19, 20. Time to leave home. Time for you to figure out what mom's been doing for you all this time. Because you're sure not showing me much appreciation. Bye now. And I made them leave home. But I also made sure that they could fend for themselves. I gave them the skills that they needed. They were just afraid. And I even walked them through that. But as soon as you stand up to mom, the ride's over. Until then, I am captain of this boat. It's mutiny to stand up to me. And so when you pull mutiny, you're big enough for your own boat. Go get that. And that's how I am with men too. So a year ago, I have this parasite problem, trying to combat it with what I knew about herbs. I went into the doctor several times for this problem. They did not want to treat me. Why? I have HIV. I'm expendable, which is exactly why I'm the best person to do experiments on when they do. And they knew that I was suspicious of them because I tried not to have to go. Did whatever I could. If I got a bad cut, I would pack that wound with salt because I knew better. I took medical courses in college. I knew better than to trust doctors. Okay? That's why I fought what I could with herbs. But I could not find anything to replace the HIV meds. I just figured I'd figure my way through that when the time came. And so, lo and behold, I had no choice. Well, at least I took medical courses. Parasites are angry. Hopefully they're leaving. I still have a few, but they're big ones. I treat every day, all day, so that I know every single one of them is gone. So, I did the research. I sat in one place next to the wood stove because I was hoping I could cook them and kill them. I tried the ivermectin. I tried the next step up. I tried the tinctures that you get from the herb store. And come to find out, anything with alcohol works against you. And so I did more research, and the CDC has known that this is a problem. When I first tested positive for HIV, I also tested positive for T. gondii. I think it's also called, can't think of it right now. But turns out HIV is a combination of the trichomoniasis as well as the T. gondii. As well as it derives from sexual trauma as well as sexual dysfunction, a long lineage of it. Long. So, these could be Eve parasites, guys. This could be the original parasite that Eve caught, potentially. Passed down in every lineage. When a woman gets violated, you catch parasites because it's the parasites that make them do those behaviors. When you get with a narcissist, they absolutely have parasites because it's parasites that make them do those behaviors. Your family definitely had parasites. We are surrounded by them. They gas us with them from the chemtrails. Like, that's part of what they're doing to us. One winter, when we had snow, they had dropped some nanotechnology on us. We could see them. Little black worms in the snow. And they built webs across the snow. I'd never seen anything like this before. And it was shortly after then that people just simply stopped paying attention to things. I myself included. Until the dragonfly. So what I found out is that our entire lives, society, is constructed for us to have, catch, and maintain parasites in our system. That is what the medications are for. Is to do stuff to the parasites to control the situation so you go through your entire life until you're whatever age that you die. Only people are dying from this sooner and sooner. The morgue is not going to catch it because it's parasites. They're just going to notice the decomposition. And what's going to happen is decomposition timing is going to be off. You hear that, investigators? I took forensics in college. Decomposition is going to be off. The parasites will have mostly ate them before they died. And so what in Egypt, notice the mummies? I wonder how true that is. I wonder if that's why they started taking the insides out, was because of the mummies, making sure they had gotten the parasite The queen bee, I call it. But there's at least one male and one female. A lot of the large ones are leaving my body. I have blanks in my muscles where they left holes. We all thought I was buff. We all thought I was Hercules until this parasite situation hit. And I know there are others coming behind me. Anybody who did Dark Night of the Soul understand that is an Egyptian ritual for this particular parasite offload. But nobody gave us this information. Dolores Cannon maybe didn't have this information. Perhaps, well, okay, from what I'm seeing, doctors do not know how to treat this. Well, I do. We have to change the entirety of everything. The chemicals in our laundry soap attract other people's parasites to us. The foods that we're eating not only contain parasites, but attract more parasites to us. Our trauma attracts parasites to us. The parasitic people, they are the parasites. Like, they have parasites. Stay away from them. And so I'm finding out that all these things, they're using the parasites to basically kill people off. Because the CIA, NRO, DARPA, and higher up, all of the alphabet soup agencies are running frequency tests. Not just through our phones, but through technology around us, Wi-Fi. They're running frequency tests to see what it does to the parasites, what it does to us. And so, remember when we were supposed to turn our phones off? Or, there was a period of time in 2023, 2024, that winter, that we were supposed to turn our phones off. I have nobody around me, and radio does not come in up here. And so I didn't turn my phone off. I left it on. Whatever happened, happened. I'm a risk taker. So, and nobody really cared. So I figured if it killed me, it killed me. Oh well, nobody cares. And you'll find evidence that supports this. Nobody really cares. So who has to care is you. And I'll be damned. Like, I technically don't really want to be here, but at the same time, I would want to be here if things were better. And when I told my psychologist, I don't want to die, I just don't want to live this way, he's like, interesting. And he said it with too much of a smile on his face. This is part of the science they're doing to us. My infectious disease specialist, when I called him and told him, hey, I just found out through reading the information on the CDC website that you are the one that's supposed to warn me about this. You are the one that is supposed to be handling this, not leaving me hanging. What happens next? He quits and moves to Bozeman, Montana. And so infectious disease specialists are the ones that are supposed to be handling parasite infestations. And they're not. They're hiding from this problem. I know there's an epidemic because I know everybody who did Dark Night of the Soul is going to get a massive parasite problem. And their parasite problem is infectious. Your parasites waking up wakes up everybody else's parasites around you because they're afraid. And so what happens is when one becomes afraid for their soul, the parasites wake up. I was pretty sure that I saw some things out there. I absolutely saw some things. People were not acting right. Their eyes would glaze over and then they'd charge me or do things that were outside of their character. I was pretty sure the devil was jumping bodies. I was pretty sure of it. That he was jumping bodies and using people as a hand puppet. For all I know, that's exactly what was happening. So it scared me straight. Scared me back home. The way people were acting, no way. What happened, I was not sticking around for what happened next. But these people are also substance abusers and have addiction problems of some sort. My mom and my sister have a shopping addiction, and my daughter might too. I recognized it. I caught myself having one. And I was like, oh, hell no. The things I could have done with that money by now, I'm not doing this to myself again. Nope. So I try to be strict with myself on my money. I sometimes give myself some fun allowance when it's available, but it's not always available. In fact, it's hardly ever available. I have dogs. I'm doing a dog thing, and everybody wants handouts. So no, based on that, even when I had money, it wasn't worth having money, because as soon as anybody saw I had anything, they wanted to take that from me. So I got to a point where, why bother having anything? I had kids. It was like I couldn't have nice things, as well as men. Couldn't have nice things without someone coming in and destroying that for me. My house. I had people, I'm allergic to opiates, including METH. I'm allergic to it. And certain people smoked it in my house. Not taking that seriously, not taking my health seriously. Boyfriends, men that I thought we were together in a way. Oh, I guess we didn't talk about it. Girls, make sure you talk about things. If they're not willing to talk about things, they're not worth being with. Okay? If you can't talk to them like I'm talking to you right now, they're not worth being with. And so what ended up happening was a series of people did not, HIV, autoimmune. If people are not going to take my health seriously, then they're not worth being around. But what I saw was that nobody was. And if I did, they called me a hypochondriac. So after that, I just can't deal with people. If people are just going to be so crude, rude, and shrewd, then no, I'm done. I will go back home to my dogs, the ones that actually care about me. And so that's what I've been doing for the past 3 years. Trying not to die. Trying not to let the parasites eat my brain. It turns, the doctors knew, psychologists, doctors, the government, the military, they know this is part of their war games with other countries. This is what they do with other countries. And the soldiers that they send over there, they are utilizing this parasite the parasite science information to make better soldiers. This is all about war games. All of the ones that are supposed to be taking care of us and on our side knew about this. And they also know that on purpose, somebody put out this dark night of the soul shit, knowing it would wake people's parasites up. I don't regret doing it though, right? Because here's why. When I cough up every parasite in my body, and I'm going to do it too, the HIV goes away. I'm going to prove it. I stopped taking my medications, and I'm doing herbs all the time. Okay? Let me make sure before anybody else tries it behind me. I'm going to be the proof that what I'm doing is working. And that doctors psychologists, and the government, I'm proving all of them wrong if I do this. Same with the church. I will be proof that they're all fucking lying. So it's no wonder they wanted to kill me. I will be the proof. And they know that I will figure it out, which is why my doctors, the psychologist, after I figured out his game, he quit too. As I figure out doctors' games, they quit. The FBI, police, like the police department is even in on it. All government officials are in on it. Even if not all of them know, some of them do. But they also know that I've been watching them doing human trafficking. And I've also saw them deliver drugs, fentanyl, to be distributed up here. They know I know what they're up to. All of it is a scam. I am proof. Okay? And so, continuing my story, I found out that all diseases are parasites. If you have cancer, then you also have unprocessed emotions, repressed emotions, possibly repressed memories, and you live in oppression. You're people-pleasing. Stop people-pleasing. If you have cancer, stop people-pleasing. It's time to learn how to piss people off. Since when has that been a crime? Since when is being honest a crime? It's never been a crime. It's still not. You can't muzzle me if you can't kill me. Dead men don't tell tales, but alive ones do. Let me get something. Take off my glasses. My ponytail holder is fabric. I'll show you. Okay. Fabric ponytail holder. I gotta put this on top of my head. Button. I split my head open right in here when I was 2. I remember it. I also remember my mother wasn't paying that much attention because she didn't want to look at my wound. He did something to me. The doctor in Britt, Iowa, did something to me. And the year was 1979. How do I know? I remember it. Somebody wanted to take my memories from me. So, what I did this past summer is I put a speaker magnet on my head. Because when I got hit in the head on this side, it turned on some equipment. What do you know? And people kept telling me, oh, it's all in your head. I'm like, it is. It is. You can't hear it, but I can. So the guy hit me right here with the Louisville Slugger and turned something on. And that's what was screaming at me for at least a year. However, my phone was doing some things. Not to me, but for me. I'm going to guess. So I put a speaker magnet, like people thought I was crazy. I put a speaker magnet on top of my head last summer and repolarized it. And then I used a computer and reprogrammed it. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm doing quantum physics. What do you know? So that's how else I know what's going on. There's no point in suing them. They're just going to deny. I'm just going to tell their secret. Is it on? Yep. Why is the metal detector setting off if I don't have metal in my head? So I did some research on the parasites. They have crystalline fibers in them from the nanotechnology. Well, part of it is the nanotechnology that they dropped on us, right? I had to touch a dog electric fence for a dog. I had to touch that a few times, and I'm probably still going to have to fry the nanotech. Okay? And so, I know for certain, crystalline fibers, that's, you have a crystal in your phone. Like, whatever these parasites are, I want to see it under a microscope. I want a freaking science lab. I don't need an education. I already gave that to myself. I studied parasites for the past year, 24/7. Why? Because I wasn't planning to go out that way. And I also knew the government is a scam. False advertisement. Attempted murder. How about that? All of these agencies tried to kill me on purpose because the cops would come for absolutely nothing to irritate me, to make me try to be afraid. The government kept sending me unnecessary paperwork to try to make me afraid. They would take things away, give it back to try to make me afraid. So I absolutely know what they're doing with the food stamp thing, the SNAP program. Taking it away, giving it back, taking it away. Oh, we might take it. I'm telling on you. Telling everybody. And Donald Trump absolutely knows what's going on. So does RFK. RFK might be on our side. I can't figure that out. I'd have to be in the same room. I'd have to know my tuning fork is picking up on him. But this is what they're doing to us. You don't have to believe me. But there's going to be other people with the same story that I have. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no way this just happened to just me. No way. And so, I might be 113 pounds, but I'm still an ass kicker. And I still don't mind chewing ass. Shame on all of you. I know that they'll end up watching this video. Shame on you. I'm going to have you all of you, all alphabet soup, all government, all doctors, all religion, their lies have gone far enough. Because in this parasite thing, I also found out all of the religious lies. Mythology is true. King James twisted the Bible. It's like wires. Twist that. Instead of having a straight shot, being straight, what he did was he twisted information. And it twists in your brain and causes a short circuit. And also puts you asleep. And so you have to unwind that to get the story straight. And you have to connect it with mythology. If you are completely discounting mythology, then you don't have any answers. What's more true has been mythology, because it's put in a way where it doesn't tell you who you are in that. You decide that. You decide that. There's times where I was Thor, and there's times that I was Loki. What are the odds they really existed and that I'm actually related to them? But you follow the storyline. It doesn't mean that you were that person. It just means that you carry the spirit of that person, which could be parasites, or it could be your real personality. Potentially, it's your real personality and the rest of it's parasites. I'm really starting to think that the nice guy was the parasites, and the asshole, straightforward version of me is the real me. The people pleaser, pretty sure that's parasites. So understand this. Like, it's probably the parasites that had me become a minister. I have no clue. I'm still sorting out what the parasites talked me into and what was me. This is me. This right here was the whole reason for the journey, I think. It might have not been to begin with, but this right here, people need to understand what's being done. Not just to American citizens. It's being done elsewhere too. So people need to understand our leaders instigated this. Generation after generation after generation, they knew this was coming. How do I know? It's in CDC's information. Do you know how long they've been doing parasite research? Do you understand how long this science experiment has been going on? Thousands of years. I don't know if they knew it was parasites in Egypt. They thought it was snakes. Let me tell you why. Because these parasites act like snakes. At one point in time, I could feel it trying to climb to my chest, like a snake stuck inside my body, climbing to my heart. Nobody wants to talk about this, in spite of the fact that this was the most frightening experience I've ever had to live through. There's no running away. There's no stabbing that with a sword. But this is why people are losing their minds right now. And I've watched other people go through things they didn't know it was parasites, odds are. But I did. I had all reasons why I would have them, and doctors still tried to dismiss me. People still tried to dismiss me. I don't make things up. If I'm going to make something, I build it. I built my deck. I built my kitchen island. I like to build things. So the fact that they tried to take that from me, they're going to pay for that. Doctors did this on purpose. I kept refusing to get the COVID shot. The COVID shot has something to do with it. Because what they're trying to do is fuse people with their parasites. Do you know how many times they tried to force medications on me? They're really loving people who like pills. And I am so 100% happy that I might have found a cure so that I never have to take another pill again. I don't even have to take aspirin. If I hurt, it's muscle aches from doing things. It's not any kind of cramps or muscle spasm like what was. If I hurt, I take a hot bath, go lay down and lose another parasite. The other thing, it required psychedelics to push them out of my central nervous system. Required it. I tried not to do that, but this is why ayahuasca works. This is why ayahuasca works. People don't realize that. But in other countries, like South America, Peru, Mexico, odds are, well, I know Korea, they treat all the time. How? Their food, their spices. And so this is why the spice trade was interrupted once upon a time. Essential oils too. This is why governments have been doing what they've been doing for a long time, since the spice trade got interrupted. Okay? Realize how long we have been sabotaged. I did the 23andMe DNA thing. What do you know? Now somebody wants to buy that business. Huh. Go figure. You weren't interested in it until I put my blood in that bank, are you? Because there's things you want to know about me. You don't get to without my permission. Them's the rules. By rights, the current owners of 23andMe are not allowed to sell without burning all current information, which means it's pointless to sell. You're not allowed to sell. Bottom line, 23andMe. So I found out I have 14 different kinds of Neanderthal in me, which means I'm really talented at learning things with a quickness. Monkey see, monkey do. Probably related to Bigfoot, which is why he doesn't try to hurt me when I go out in the woods. Anyhow, I also found out that I'm related to approximately 30 historical figures. 30. Huh. You have to pay more to get that information. When in fact, that information should be freely given to me because I have a right to my bloodlines. I have a right to know. So we shouldn't have to pay for this information at all. It should be freely provided as to what lineage we come from. That's being hidden on purpose, which is part of why the whole immigration thing happened, to mix up the bloodlines. I have a lot of cousins in America. I'm related to a lot of people in America. So odds are I'm going to have to shop outside of my race if I ever wanted to get married again or whatever. Like, whatever. Right now I don't even care. My head sets off a metal detector. I'm cooking bigger things. So, in the process of this parasite problem, I became an alchemist because things are more powerful when you mix them. When the parasites have mutated, you need more than one kind, more than one or two kinds of approaches. And so I wrote a program for everybody as soon as I can print it out. I wrote a program of protocols for people to follow. And in this, what people need to understand, every poop you do have is important. Every poop you don't have is even more important. If you're not like food in, food out, that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't like pooping all day. If I was working a job, they wouldn't like it either, but that's the way it is. Food in, food out. And we're actually supposed to be grazing all day, like snacking all day like a monkey. Nuts, berries, kale, chia seeds. Make sure that you soak them for a couple hours. I think it's 20 minutes, but I soak it overnight. And so there's all sorts of things that we are supposed to be having in our diet. And American stores don't even get this stuff. And when they do, the papaya had no seeds. I went to buy papaya and it had no seeds. So the things I needed were not available. I had to get creative, as well as, like, look at how scrawny I am. I'm 113 pounds because the grocery stores barely carry anything that I can have. And if they do, it is super expensive. So I snack on like bland popcorn because we're not supposed to have any of those fake oils. I do sometimes do coconut oil. But if you're cooking it over a flame, it's healthy for you. If you're getting microwave popcorn, it's not. Whatever is in my head can pick up on the microwave. I had to unplug it and I'm going to haul it to my daughter's house because it disturbs whatever is in my head. And so, like, people understand you have no idea what is being done to us until now. If you choose not to believe me, all of the electricity, the wires, I can hear fluorescent lights. I know I'm not the only one. But these things are bad for us because it creates a frequency that disturbs the neurons and it disturbs things in our brains. What people also don't understand is we have 360 degrees of a brain. And each little part is important and useful. But they only have you using a fraction, a small amount of your brain. Why? Because they want to keep you stupid so that you never amount to much. Why? Because they're so much less than, they don't have the ability for this. They're fused with their parasites and they're trying to make more like them. The reptilians, that's who they are. They have a giant T. Gandhi in their head, probably very mutated. And most likely this did come from another planet. I'm going to be honest. Who knows? But our friendly government, alphabet soup agencies, local government, all layers are in it, even if not everybody is. Like, not all of them are aware, but a good portion of them are. Their orders cue them in as to it's a science experiment on the citizens. So realize how fake everything is. They have us doing things that actually aren't normal and they're entertained by it. It's a control tactic. And they're planning on offloading a whole lot of people, namely the spiritual people. Why? Because they don't want us to become what we're meant to become. That's why. So choose your purpose, as in the destiny. And that's not serving other people. That leads you to yourself. Your subconscious is leaving you. It's like a butterfly. It breadcrumbs you to where you're meant to be. Your subconscious is trying to get a hold of you. A little tap on your shoulder being like, look at that. That's your subconscious. Follow that. Because anything less leads you to the parasites. Leads you to the events that are about to happen. It is potential. It is highly possible that they are planning a zombie apocalypse. Why else the underground bunkers? Biden was afraid of it. He's so afraid that he's lost his mind for the most part. Or maybe he's back. I don't know. I haven't watched. I don't really care. But what I do know is that they know what's amiss. They know what they've done to the citizens. And UK, it's most likely been done to you too. China, citizens, it's most likely been done to you. Australia, you too. Every country needs to check itself because some dirty science has been running the planet for a long time. Long time. At least the past couple 100 years. But since the spice trade was interrupted. Okay. How long ago was that? And England is in charge of all of this stuff. Recognize this. But, I haven't done all the history on who interrupted the spice trade. I just know that it was kind of a game to all of them back then. Because they knew how important it was. I know England made its citizens so poor that they couldn't even afford pepper. The UK did this. So I absolutely know where this came from. I know who started this game. It started with the UK, and its citizens are completely unaware. Completely unaware. Check your family history. If you have had any impoverished relatives, if you had any relatives that were in poverty, it's time to take this seriously. Get on some herbs. The teas help, but caffeine does not. So get on some herbs, get on spices, Korean chili paste, and miso soup. I had to get away from the American diet and into a different cultural diet, okay? So if anybody has any questions, please message me at AureliaSkyfire.com. AuraliaSkyfire@gmail.com. Okay? Because this is about to be serious. Also, people need to pH their systems. Essentially, I'm supposed to be on some sort of a mermaid diet. Stop eating red meat. No hot dogs, no chicken. They're doing something to the chickens. Try to eat fish and berries, if possible. This next year, it's time to start putting up our own food instead of trusting what comes in the container at the store. Okay? I will be rearranging my kitchen so that I can do recordings in there with lighting and whatnot. So that people are going to be in a state by the time I get my kitchen right. And that's because somebody letting their parasite sabotage them sabotaged me. And this person knew that the parasite was in control of his decisions. He did this on purpose. He just didn't care, which tells me by having no feelings about hurting me that way, he doesn't have a conscience, which means he's permanently fused with his parasites. So there's no point in having any more contact with that person because he knows about the parasites and yet he chose not to get well. That's on him. I'm doing me. I'm not making time for grudges, but I am making time to move forward. So, there's a few grudges I'm willing to, they're worth it. They're worth this. I have a bigger fish to fry. A few of them. That's who's worth my time. Because that's who's hurting a multitude of people. Other leaders, if they get this, you're next. I will find out what you're doing to your people. Basically, you're doing the same as me, most likely. Or as what was done to me. I'm going to assume that's what you're doing. If you have elites in your country, then that's what they're doing to you. Okay? Realize this. So, again, like, subscribe, share, comment. I realize this is a lot to take in, but people should be afraid. It is what you don't know that hurts you. And now you know. So you can do preventative things. You can get ahead of what's about to happen. Because that's what's necessary. That's why I came in early. Get ahead of what's about to happen. These are in our heads, in our sinus cavities, in our eyes. When I'm done, I won't need glasses. My eyes will correct themselves if they're not too far gone. But honestly, I think herbs might be able to bring them back. Who knows? But I also know that when you use your third eye, you don't need your two eyes. I also once upon a time practiced, I thought I was going blind and I thought I was going deaf. So that turns on, when you can't see and you can't hear, your senses are alive. Your senses wake up. So as well as I live in felony flats, all of my senses woke up. I was violated on several occasions. My senses woke up. And so, as well as I educated myself. So my senses knew what they were waking up to. People that are neurodivergent, everything is just backwards right now. There's actually nothing wrong with you. What's wrong is you're actually smarter than everybody else, so they had to scramble you as a child. And there's a way to undo that. There's a way to make you better. We'll be going over that. So, again, like, subscribe, share. Everybody have a great evening. I'm going to try to get to bed while it's still dark out.